Hope you've all been well. I want to show you how I pot up my seedlings from this size tray to a 4-inch pot. And so I want to show you what I do. That way you can see a quick and fast way to do it. So first of all, the pots, before I fill them, I put a piece of this flyer at the bottom of the pot. I lay that at the bottom. Now, these are just flyers that we get at the door in our mailbox that normally would go to recycling, but I always keep them and then I use them to line my pots with so that the soil doesn't spill out when I'm watering from beneath in my sink or in a tray. So I lay that at the bottom first, then I top the soil with my mix that I create myself. And it's basically a mixture of, it's a growing medium for seeds, like for seed starting. And then to it I add, what I do is I add vermiculite, I add mics, which is a mycorrhizal bacteria. And then I also add some sea compost, or I add worm castings depending what I have. And lately I've been using sea compost, which is a collection of seaweed and shrimp and peat and some wood material, and I add that as my compost. I used to add a lot of worm castings, but this year I had a fungus gnat infestation, so I've been adding the sea compost, and I find that works really well. And then I also add, so it's basically the sea compost, the vermiculite, and the growing medium that I use, which is a G6 for fard. And then I also add the mics. So anyways, that's what I add. So I mix all that into my basin, and then I put that in here in my pots. So now my pots are ready. I get them ready in advance. So the seedling tray is this one, and I'm going to be potting these up, and these are straw flowers. I'm growing a lot of flowers this year. I add a lot of flowers to my garden. I like to co-plant all my vegetables with flowers so that the pollinators come and pollinate the vegetables and make fruit. So here's my pot, and so how I make my hole. So here's the pot. What I do is I put my thumbs together, and I just kind of rotate it. You can wear gloves. I'm not wearing them right now, as you can see. And I make a hole. And I typically don't pre-moisten the soil, but you can if you want. And if you just want it to be a little bit wet. So then once I make the hole, I put water into the hole like this, okay? That'll help to hold it open. I grab my seedling, push it out from the bottom. There it is, okay? And I take my pot, pop it in, just push it down a bit, tap the sides of the 4-inch pot so that the soil falls where it should, and it's ready to go. Just push it down a little bit to firm it in, and it's potted up. Really, really easy. I'm gonna do one more to show you how I do it. So here's my pot, okay? Just take my thumbs, and I'm going to just turn it to make a small hole which fits the exact size of the seedling. And I'm going to pop out my seedling like this. It's ready. There's the root system. It's great. Push it down, gently tap the sides, push the seedling in a bit, just work the soil around. Very easy, no tools required. If you need to top it up, you need a little bit more soil, you can do that, and it's potted up. Really, really easy, really simple. And then I set it into my sink, or you could set it into a tray or a basin of some kind with a few inches of water, and then I water from below and I let it absorb slowly. I can also, if I wanted to, wet the whole thing, but I do so many seedlings and I have such a large quantity that's a lot easier for me this way. Sometimes I water from like halfway, I fill it halfway, and then I water it depending on how dry it is. But this is a new mix. It's fairly damp, so it absorbs nicely. It's nice and light and fluffy. I've also added a little bit of like newspaper that I had left over, so I just cut it up really, really thin, and I put it in, and it's gonna break down. So it just makes it more light and more fluffy. And that's it, done. Very, very easy. Put a label in so you know what you got, and that's how you pot up your seedlings to 4-inch pot, or into any size really. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.